Okay, so we are going to go through how to register for the Lake County, Indiana tax sale. There's two websites that you're going to need to use. First one is onyxelectronics.com. It's up here in the taskbar. Okay. Second one is zeusauction.com. So on Onyx Electronics, first thing we're going to do is download this registration link. You can also find the spreadsheets that have the parcels on them. But for today's purposes, all we're going to do is register. So we just need this link. It's going to pull up a PDF for us that we can fill out. Please make sure you read this. There's a lot of good information that comes from here. Most importantly, on page 1, you can only file a single file upload. So one of the steps is you have to add your driver's license. So you can't upload the PDF and then later upload your driver's license. You have to do it all in one. If you don't do it all in one, you're going to get locked out. You have to pay a $500 registration fee. That is going to be what's called a pre-bid. So if you are successful in bidding on something, your $500 payment now gets applied to the purchase. You also have to pay a non-refundable $100 paddle fee. If you successfully are approved for the sale, then your $100 paddle fee is non-refundable. If you are rejected for any reason, then it is technically refundable because you did not get into the sale. Page 2, this is going to be the requirements that you have to go through in order to sign up. There's three ways to do it: limited liability corporation, C corporation or C corp, or signing up as an individual. Which most of you will probably do. To sign up, I'm going to start with individual because this is the base requirements for all of them. You need a signed copy of your bidder agreement. That's going to be in this PDF. We're going to get to it in a second. You need a copy of your driver's license. Please do your front and back of your driver's license. And also please make sure your driver's license is not expired. There's a form that asks for the prior 8 years of residency and the prior 8 years for your employer history. Please make sure you fill that out as well. It also asks for your social security number. Now, you don't have to actually upload a W-9 because there's an electronic way to do it through Zeus Auction. Okay, that would be how to sign up as an individual. Now, if you're signing up as a corporation or a LLC, you're going to need all of those things, but you're also going to need your corporate bylaws, an operating agreement if you have one. You have to name all of your shareholders. Okay? You have to have a current state of Indiana certificate of existence. So if you have a company that's formed outside of the state of Indiana, that will not work. It has to be an Indiana entity. And you have to get a current Indiana certificate of existence. You have to be careful because these are only valid for 30 days. So if you have one from last year, that's not going to work. You also have to get an article of organization within the state of Indiana. Now, these two things you can get off the Indiana Secretary of State website. And then you also have to have your employer identification number. So this is most likely not your social security number. It's going to be an IRS federal identification number that is provided to you when you created the company. This is the residency form. So again, you're going to put your 8 years of residency. So you're just going to put the month and the year that you lived there, and starting when you moved in, and ending, of course, when you moved out. And you're going to fill this out going back 8 years. Doesn't matter if you lived in Indiana or Illinois or California or Europe, as long as you had an address, you need to put it on there. You need to also make sure you go back 8 years. You also have to put your employer history. So you're going to say just like the addresses, month, year to the present. If you've held the job for 8 years, you only have to put the one. If you've had multiple jobs, you have to put all of them, but you have to go back 8 years. There are a lot of people who maybe were unemployed, especially because of COVID. So if there's a gap in your employment history, that's okay. Just make sure you put that. So let's say from March 2020 to June 2020, you were unemployed. Just put March 2020 to June 2020 unemployed. Obviously, you're not going to have an address. If you're self-employed, put the dates that you've been self-employed, put your name down, and then put self-employed. And then, of course, the address that you operated your business out of. Next is the bidder contract. Key takeaways from this is you can't bid on behalf of anybody or at the direction of anybody, even if they're otherwise eligible bidders. You can't do it. It's considered tax fraud or tax sale fraud in the eyes of the county. So please don't do that. Scrolling down, another important takeaway, you are buying a tax sale certificate. You're buying what's called a lien on the property. You do not have any rights to the property. You can't charge rent to the property. You cannot repair the property. Clients ask me every year, can I make repairs? You cannot. Not until you have a tax deed, which will come sometime, usually January, February of 2024. Okay. One of the final steps in this process is getting what's called a court order to issue a tax deed. That's going to happen if you're successful. That will happen in sometime in November 2023. However, you only have 150 days to process that order. I have a video on what exactly processing the order is, or if you're not sure what that means, just shoot me an email and let me know. Okay, so if you don't do that within 150 days, then you're going to lose your right to bid. Uh, Last but not least, if you are registering a company under Indiana law, you are required to have an attorney assist you in that process because sending out of the notices, the 4.5 and 4.6 notices, is considered practice of law. And unless you are a licensed attorney, you cannot do that on behalf of a company, even if it's your company. So please hire an attorney to do that process. Once you've read through and understood all of this, print your name, sign your name, and date it. Okay. Um, One of the things that they require, like I said, is the driver's license. So you're gonna have to upload that uh, separately. Please sign these forms with an actual pen. Don't use an electronic signature. So if you have Adobe PDF, it becomes pretty simple. So here I've uploaded my 3 documents. I can just select them all, right click on them, combine them. Adobe puts them all here in order for me. And then you just click combine. We'll rotate them. Okay, so now everything's all on one page. Okay, so that is pretty much everything that you need for the forms if you're signing up as an individual. If you don't have Adobe Pro or a version of Adobe that allows you to do that, you're gonna have to upload them all or scan them all in on one file. If you don't have a scanner, your iPhone can do that. Your Notes app on your iPhone has a scan feature that allows you to scan one page at a time, and it's actually works pretty well. I would recommend that you do that instead. So let's move forward. You've accomplished that. You've turned everything into one PDF. You're ready to register. Second website is ZeusAuction.com. So if you've not been here, you can create a free account. It takes about 60 seconds. You just click create account. It's just an email and password. Once you have that, you're going to go log in. Okay. And now the Zeus auction is going to show every county that they've ever hosted. We really only care about Lake, so we're going to go to the search bar, click on Lake. Conveniently, it is the first one to pop up. Okay, so you click to register. It's going to have all the information about the sale and the registration. Please note the registration ends March 3rd at 4:30. So if you've not submitted it by 4:30, don't try to submit it at 4:31 because it's not going to go through. Sale dates May 8th through May 11th, $600 bid. And then so all you're going to do here is click register. Now this is new. You have to acknowledge that all your bids are final. Doing research is your responsibility. It is your responsibility to pay for your bids at the end of the auction. Please do this because if you don't, you can be penalized 25% of what your total bid was, and you don't get any of the property. So please make sure you have enough money to pay your bids. You have to acknowledge that you have read all of the rules that we just went through on the Onyx Electronics website, and you have to certify that your W-9 info is correct. If you want, you can click on it and it will show it to you. So we're just going to type in our initials here, click continue. Okay, it's going to auto-populate your address. It's going to auto-populate your login. You have to type in your name here. You have to upload your bidder file. So I'm just going to upload my bidder file. Okay. You have to click that you have to certify that all of these things are true. Okay, so please read them, make sure they're true. You can subscribe if you like, but you don't have to. And then last but not least, you're going to click continue. I'm not because then that actually submits your packet. Unfortunately, I've already done that once before, and that's why you see the name. Um, uh, Once you've submitted it, you are going to go to, it's going to take you to a payment page. You just type in your bank information if you haven't already, and it's going to do an automatic ACH withdrawal out of your bank account. So that is how to register. If you have any questions, please shoot me an email or call the office. All right. Thank you guys.